everybody and welcome to today's video. So today I have an unboxing. So we should have two cactus plants in here, and these are grafted cactus, and I bought these off an eBay seller of his private collection. Okay, so let's get unboxing. So we'll have the order form here. So on the invoice here, so I'll just read out what the cactus are called. So the first one is Puna bonai, which is a choice Argentine cactus grafted on an Apuntia subulata. And the other cactus is an Erioscice lowi, a choice Chilean cactus grafted on a short stock. So I've put gloves on just for extra safety, in case there's anything on them or something like that. I'm sure they're fine. So I'm very careful with these because they are grafted and I don't want to damage them. And it's not as hot as it was, so it's been okay to post plants out. I know a lot of places have been delaying their orders because of the heat wave. Oh, it's got a little cute label with it. That's got to be the tiniest little label I've seen. There's the label. So eventually, as this grows older, the top part, this should really bulge out and clump and produce a nice big head, and eventually covering up the edges around here where it's calloused. It's a really nice fluffy little cactus there, and looks really well done. Really nice clean join. You can see it's got a nice established root system, so it's on a nice healthy stock. So that's important when you are grafting, to choose a nice healthy stock free from any disease. So looking around this stock, which is the bottom cactus, you can see how the edges get beveled off. That stops the top part when it's growing and it gets bigger from popping off. They can push themselves off of the stock if you don't do that, because the edges will curl up and pop it off as it grows. Here's the label for that one. So you can see how big it is in relation to my hand. So this was the one I was first interested in, but because I was buying from the same seller, I thought it would be better if I bought a couple of plants, considering you didn't need to pay much more postage. So the new growth on these ones turns out as a dark colour, and then it changes over time. And this is another one that will cluster and form multiple heads over time. And it's interesting how it clusters. Get the new heads that just seem to burst out of the cactus. They're really cute. And there's the stock there. It's a nice chunky Apuntia. So it is a good job I put gloves on, because I don't know how bad these glockids are really. It seems quite spineless, but you can see those hairs coming out. So I'm just going to be repotting them, checking the root ball quite thoroughly, and then put them into my own cactus mix and let them rest for the rest of the season. I won't be giving them any water for at least, a week or more. So here are some more grafted cactus. So these are in my cacti collection. So here we have a standard dragon fruit stock with the Gymnocalcium on top, which is predominantly green. So in higher light it does turn a lot more yellow, so I keep it in lower light now, which retains its green colour. It's got lots and lots and lots of babies coming off of there. So those are perfect for taking off when they're about the size of a marble and trying to regraft them so you can produce a bigger cactus in a shorter amount of time. And here you can see the top cactus, or what we call the scion, on top of the rootstock, which again is a dragon cactus. This one is a variegated cactus, so it has white and green. So potentially that could actually survive on its own, but sometimes you will find these things sold in garden centres or high street stores just for them to look pretty on top of the cactus. So you can degraft that and it would actually grow its own roots. So here's another cactus on top of a dragon fruit, which is an epiphytic cactus. These are used quite a lot. They don't last very long, but for now it's okay for my needs. But you'll see here on top we have a mammillaria. So this one can be difficult at times to grow on its own roots, but it can be done. And this one is offsetting at the moment, so I could take those off and try to regraft those, or try and have a go at letting it grow its own roots. And here's another example. So this time this is a slightly bigger dragon fruit stock, and this has a robutia on top of it, which is multi-offsetting. This one hasn't given me any flowers yet, but this one can be hard to grow on its own roots. So you do see this one grafted a lot as well, but it can happily grow on its own roots. So here I've saved the best till last. Now this is dying. So you can see the top cactus. This was a bright pink gymnocalcium. So this would never have survived on its own roots. And this was put on top of a dragon fruit cactus. Now this one I haven't had for very long at all. This was actually bought from a Dobby's garden centre. But then all of a sudden it just started to turn brown, and I've just wanted to leave it because there wasn't really a lot I could do for it and to see how far this damage would go. But now the top cactus has finally dried up, and the spread of the dying off part towards the base of the cactus, where you can see it's coming down, has now stopped, and it's really dried and gone rock solid. So this shouldn't travel any further. So potentially I could chop this off and try and reuse this bottom part, but I don't think I'm going to bother. These ones don't tend to last very long, but I have had more that have lasted a lot longer than that. So this was only a few months, and then it started to rot. So it had exactly the same treatment as my other cactus in terms of watering and light, and this one just didn't survive. So there's a bit of a close-up there, and you can see it's really dried and completely dead. And that's the rest of the cactus. So another reason for grafting cactus is when you notice that one of your cactus in your collection, so you could have any one of these cactus plants that could start dying off or showing signs of rot, that you might be able to save by chopping it off and then grafting the top part of the healthy cactus onto a suitable rootstock. And that could potentially save one of your most precious plants. I haven't tried that before, but I might certainly give it a go in the future. So I'm just going to end this little part of the video by showing you this dragon fruit cactus here. So you can see it in that blue pot. So that base part of the cactus here was the original portion, which originally had a purple gymnocalcium on, and that was took off a while ago, and that's what's grown since. So they can be saved and regrown as plants on their own. Right, so these cactus plants here have been resting for a few days, and I'm going to be repotting them now. So I've chosen some 7.6 just standard size pots. And then I'm just leaving that root ball as it is. And test it. You can see that's just about the right size pot to use. Don't want it to be too big and you don't want it to be too small. So I'm just adding activated charcoal granules, which I've been using for a very long time. And I'm happy to see there are more growers out there incorporating this into their soil mixes. And it's great to see more and more products here in the UK are starting to include charcoal as a component. So what I'll do now is just hold the cactus, support it, give it a good tap. This just makes sure the potting mix has gone down the sides. I don't have any big air pockets. So just by doing that already, the mix has gone a bit lower. So I'll add some top dressing now. So I'm just going to be using my Kaidama. And there we go, that's the first one done. And then I'll do the other one exactly the same way. I'll just slightly reposition that one because it's leaning a bit. So just if you have that issue, just hold it and tap your mix again and it will reposition your cactus. And there we go, so they're both done now, and they'll go under my grow lights now because they were resting just slightly away from the grow lights in lower light. So this is my panel grow light, it's 150 watts, and I've placed my plants under here for now, so they're centrally under the light so there's no shadows, so that they're getting even light across the top of the plant.